Welcome to ElksCentral. We recapping week 3, Bombers 36, Elks 23, Declan, Eddie, and Rick alongside you. We're going to be going over this one, what we liked, what we didn't like, our players of the games, and things we want to see next week for Ottawa. So that's all coming up here on ElksCentral. Okay, Eddie, my man. Another one in the L column. And here's my thing. The moments of promise seem to be growing, which is huge. But at the end of the day, it's an 0-3 team. And listen, it's Nathan Rourke. It's the Montreal Alouettes. It's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But you're still 0-3 in a must-win league.
Is what it is, right? It's the end of the day. All the promise, all the progression we've seen, especially with Trey. That was Trey's best game,
by far. I thought it was his best game.
But still, it's an L.
Yep.
Right. And we'll get into the nitty gritty of the game. But even we talk about the big bombs early in the game, Dembski and Waitfall, man, the DBs, you can't be closer. They were playing that as good as you could be. They didn't make the play, but you got to be happy with how tight they were. Sometimes that's just the luck of the ball.
100%. Like on, and we'll kind of go step by step here, but on Nick's touchdown, especially like Shaylin Garnes, he was called up this week, or not called up, sorry, but he was put in the starting lineup playing that Sam, and he had the blitz off the edge where he roughed Zach. And then he had that one on Nick. And like on paper, if you're just not, I'm not even talking about looking at it in the film room, just on paper, you're like, okay, roughing the passer, and then a blown coverage for Nick Dembski that leads to a touchdown. But like neither play was that bad. Like especially Nick's touchdown, like that coverage wasn't. Nick just made a play on the ball. Weefall's touchdown was the one I had more issue with. Like Devondrick, he didn't get his head around. I don't even know if he knew the ball was in the air. And Suits was talking on the broadcast about what a ball it was. And it was obviously a great ball. I think it was just a go route. It was a great ball. But Devondrick didn't get his head around. Like he was step by step in coverage, hand in his back pocket. If he got his head around, I thought he could have made a play on the ball. He just didn't.
He could have made the play for sure. But I'm just happy, I guess, and maybe I'm just so used to what it's been here lately. But I'm just happy to see at least the defensive back be pretty close. It's not like it was a blown coverage like Montreal where someone's sitting wide open 30 yards down the field, right? Like the receiver made a good play on the ball. The DB was in his hip pocket essentially, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, the blown coverage this game was actually by Winnipeg on Keon Julian Grant's touchdown. That was one. Like I was rewatching it on the broadcast. He didn't have anyone like 10 yards within him, But okay, so starting from the top. So first drive for the Elks, or not second drive, I guess, for the Elks. Like they move the ball efficiently. They're running the ball well. They go down and score. And I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, like that was pretty good.
And the way they went and finished that drive too, they went and put their stamp on it, hammered it home. They got down to the 5-yard line and they just
pounded the ball.
Pounded one try. On one try to get it in, right? Like, and it wasn't 2 tries, 1 try, get it in. Don't mess around.
It's funny about that, Rick, because that was like Cody clearly broke the plane. I don't know how the line judge missed that. Like, I don't know why we had to go to review for that.
I think there's a dude in his way.
Was that what it was? Yeah, okay, because it was the clear, like on the replay, it was the ball broke the plane about like half a yard. Like it was, like I thought it was pretty clear. But yeah, so anyway, they score. It's a good looking first drive, and I'm thinking like, okay, we got a little something here. Like that was a really good drive. That was a really sustained drive. One thing we'll talk about in a little bit as well is I thought Jordan put Trey in a lot of situations that he can find success in. Like it was a lot of they were working in wide receiver screens more. Like they were working in little short routes, getting the ball out quick. Like things Trey can succeed.
A lot of option.
They were yes.
League had success, and all of League's success work off option plays, man. And Trey made the right read clearly.
Javon Leake is like the most option style back ever. With his skill set, like just a speed back who's built for read options and RPOs.
And he's, he is a speed back deck, but he's actually pretty physical out there.
Yeah, no, for way more physical than he gets credit for.
He shook a linebacker in the hole, just like got right off of me, man. It was physical.
Run right up the middle sometimes.
Yeah. I thought, who is this? Is it Rank the Tank or Leak?
And then, so after the first drive, second drive, Winnipeg comes down. And they just make it look easy.
Answered so easy.
And they didn't have a play over 20 yards on that first drive. and they just come down and score. And so immediately I'm thinking like, okay, you're going to have to play pretty much a perfect game to beat this Bombers team. It was obviously close, and it was close without it being a perfect game, but that's what that first drive kind of made me think. So they moved the ball so well. It was Chalen with the roughing the passer that by the letter of the law is a roughing the passer, but it's such a nicky knack. Like, it's not nicky knack by the letter of the law. I get you can't go hands to the face, but it's like, really?
It's hard.
That's roughing the passer.
I know it's soft, but because you got him high.
They almost grazed him on that one, right? And you can't really say you can grazes are fine because they're mistakes, and you can't really justify which one's a real one and which one's a bad one. So you kind of got to stick with it.
Exactly.
The momentum shift in the second quarter, I don't think it necessarily set the tone because the Elks defense came out and played so well in the third quarter. We'll talk about them. But in the second quarter, like, Keong Julian Graham drops that one in the end zone at the end of the first half. You're getting the ball to start the second half, chance for it to be a one possession game. There is the muff punt that two good looking plays later, fumbled by Rank. And here's the thing on that one, Stephen Dunbar, he was gone on the post. He was open. Trey just missed him, checked down to Rank, and Rank ends up fumbling. It's like these little moments where you can look to build momentum, and then you give it back so quickly. And you can't do that against a team like Winnipeg because they're such a good team, and they're so good everywhere.
And they're good enough that they can overcome these things. They know how to win.
Yeah.
It's a thing. You don't luck into winning. Winnipeg knows how to win. They know how to make plays. Edmonton, they don't know that yet.
Yep.
So you can't give up these plays. The way I look at it, there's 4 receiving plays, huge receiving plays. Winnipeg in the first half, they caught 2 of their bombs for touchdowns.
Yep.
Edmonton, he dropped his, and then he made up for it in the second half. So you're down 1 there.
Yep.
Winnipeg made their plays there. The muff punt and the Rankin fumble, that's a wash. That's a washout, right?
Yep.
So right there, Winnipeg, you're up a play, and you can't be doing that. And that one touchdown, I mean, Julian, boy, Keon, that hurts. That's he bounced back. Sure, that's good for the personal, mojo, but still in the scheme of the game, you're now down 1.
He had at least 3 yards on whoever the DB was there, but it's one of those ones like he was just hearing the footsteps, and it's almost it sounds silly, but sometimes, and you can probably speak to this better than I can, like when you're that open, it's almost harder.
Oh man, you're thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, you're waiting for 100%. You hear the footsteps. You're waiting for it to drop, and then it
sick
just
to his stomach after that. For sure, fellas.
100%.
I've had a couple of, for me as a D lineman, it's sacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get sacked. I've had a couple of sacks where it's like you got a quarterback dead to right, and like you got him. Somehow you slip off of him.
Yeah.
Somehow he gets out, and you can't sleep at night. You're just so disgusted with yourself.
Did you ever have a play in film when you guys would break down film where you knew you fucked up and you couldn't watch it? You just head down, like you're like, I'm not.
Yeah, many.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You try not to, but at least in a season, you're probably going to get 5 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you try not to, but it happens to everybody, man.
Yeah, because I remember like
bad ones.
Obviously, our football careers were very different, but I remember breaking down film in high school, and it was I just busted coverage completely. And when we were watching film the next Monday or whatever it was, I just had my head down and because I know the play, like I've replayed the play in my head.
When it's coming
100%. Like, and and so I'm sitting there head down, and you just like the whole room's silent because everyone like probably had a million eyes on me, and coach just goes, yeah, Declan got to be better on that one. And you're just like, yeah, like and that's what I'm talking about. Like that's Keon on that one. Like he knows he's got to catch that one. Rick, man, we didn't even ask you like initial thoughts on the game, just your kind of initial takeaways.
So in the second quarter, it kind of felt like we're slipping back to where we were. So it was nice to see them come out and bounce back in the third quarter. And then the thing in the fourth, we just got a little away from their game with like 3-4 minutes to go there. You're down by 10 now. So they started to go deep when you didn't really need to. Yeah, just keep doing what your offense was doing because it was working, and find your way into the end zone and you get that stop under 2 minutes and you get your one chance back. It's frustrating because it is another loss, and it does look like every other season for the last couple of years. But if you actually watch the game there and break it down kind of play by play, I think there's a lot more positives and moral victories, I guess, here, right?
I'm glad you used that phrase because I wanted to ask Eddie about this. Like, it's tough to, in professional football, have moral victories. But I think you point to spots in this game and you come away
take a lot out of it
with the moral victories.
You do.
Yeah.
Take a lot. It was a close game. 23 all going into the fourth, fellas.
Yep.
You know, Winnipeg dominated the fourth. They really won the fourth quarter. I believe, would they score final points? It was 30.
Well,
33?
36, 23.
So 13 nothing in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Like so the third quarter, the Elks defense, 3 2-and-outs and 4 punts for Winnipeg. Winnipeg doesn't score in the third quarter, obviously. Elks get 10 on the board. Best defensive quarter of the season by the Elks, for sure.
Jake, big quarter, too.
Jake with his best quarter. The stat that I saw was that the starting defensive line didn't have a sack up to that point. Jake finally breaks through. And it was Dembski, I think he got on the sweep in the back. Yeah.
Right
for whatever the loss was
big
on that
CFL.
one, 4 or 5. Yeah. So huge quarter defensively. Like they were firing on all cylinders. They were working as a unit. Tackling was
DBs,
great.
Everybody coming up supporting.
Tons of momentum going into the fourth. And then all of a sudden it just collapses. And the final drive for Winnipeg was just, I don't know what the numbers are, but I feel like they ran 4 inside runs for like what must have been 35 yards or something.
They wore them down.
Yeah, they 100%. And
when I'm just going to get back to the optimism word, and there was some, because we saw some sustained drives on offense and stuff. And the kicker went 3 for 3, made all his converts as well. Defense had its moments. It had its moments, but Deck, here we are now for the third week in a row. Defense has led up over 30 points.
Yep.
My boy JC, the secondary is getting torched. There's no denying it week in, week out. Even though we talk about how close the DBs were, like I said,
you still got to stop it.
Not good enough still. And you're getting torched out here now. Zach Caleros, 25 of 30. 25 of 30.
Yeah, incredible clip.
330 plus yards thrown in 3 tugs.
Yep. Yeah. 250 in the first half.
No interceptions. That's torched. That's torched.
Yep. Got
to be better on defense. 30 plus points every game.
35 a game through 3 weeks. And again,
that's what they're averaging?
Yeah, 35 again. That was the stat I saw anyway, which is, obviously terrible. And here's the thing, we've already seen one head on the chopping block in Manny Rugamba, who was an all-star not that long ago. And outside of Nick Anderson, I don't know if you point to anyone on this defense and say, I don't want to start cutting people from my armchair here, but I don't know if you point to anyone and say they're beyond a shadow of a doubt safe. You spent a lot of money on this defensive line. Terrell Ford, obviously a huge acquisition in the secondary.
He's okay though, because he's not getting burned. He's not getting beat at all.
Terrell Ford has been the second best defensive player for my money.
Are they just avoiding him?
Yeah, and that's the thing. As a DB, when you're getting no action,
that's because you shut him down. So cool, you're taking out one guy right away, so your stats are going to be terrible anyways. But I don't feel like he was in any of the pictures of damn, that's a completion for them.
He doesn't get burned deep. He doesn't. That's his thing. And he's
too fast to get burned deep.
Yeah, he is. And he baits quarterbacks.
Yep.
That's what makes him so good, is he's got track speed.
He also he plays he's strong side corner. So
you don't see a ton.
You don't see as much.
They've tightened the hash marks. So it's not crazy field side and boundary side like it used to be. Everything's kind of neutral now.
Here's another fun stat for you. The Elks have given up 6 20-yard touchdowns in 3 games. Pretty much 7 if you want to include Cody Fajardo's 13-yard rush. And Cody Fajardo. Caleros. What am I talking about? Sorry. Cody Fajardo's on the Elks. Yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be the season it's been to start if Cody Fajardo's running off 13 touchdowns against you. But yeah, Zach Caleros has 3 rushing touchdowns in 10 years, and he rips off that 13-yarder to seal it. And Zach Caleros, man, this is not Trey Ford. This is not.
Well, that's Niles needs to be patient. Niles Morgan needs to buzz his feet and just stay at where he was initially at his landmark, instead of come up and creep up into the pocket and give Zach that lane. If Niles just stays 3, 4, 5 yards away, he's going to easily hawk him down. But he got horny. And he wanted to make that play in the pocket and get that sack. You need to stay patient.
And then, I thought the tackling was much improved. Even early in the first and second quarter, I thought Winnipeg they were driving, but I thought the tackling was still really good. And then the third quarter, obviously best defensive quarter of the season for my money. I think you guys would probably both agree. But the fourth quarter, again, the tackling was just out there. And Zach Caleros' touchdown was a prime example
the
of
thing
it.
about this game too is we talked about how it's going to test Edmonton's manhood, right? And we saw them in spurts, win the line of scrimmage, beat Winnipeg on both sides, defense and O-line. We saw in spurts, Edmonton has it in their game. But again, the difference between Winnipeg is they might not do it all the time, but then you get to the fourth quarter and they're consistently still there chopping wood, and you see their lines just outperform you in the fourth quarter, where they wear you with the run. Willie J in the defensive line starts popping off. And that's kind of the difference where Edmonton, they got to do it. Play in, drive in, quarter in, quarter out.
We hurt ourselves too, though, right? With the Rankin drop, and then the drop by Carrion, and then the left guard, the holding call, right? Because Leak had a first down on that one. Then you had to go back to 2nd and 14. I couldn't get that one. If you take out those mistakes, I think we're right there with them. And all of a sudden, the fourth quarter isn't the way it on the scoreboard isn't the way it was. It's a different game.
Evans drawn in at that left guard spot for the first time this season, with Corte moving to center because of David Beard being out. I didn't think the offensive line played that terrible. Like, pass pro is always, I think, a bit of an issue for the line, but I thought in the run game they played well. Like, I thought the run game doesn't jump out at you on the box score. Like, I think it was only 14 for 72 yards between the two backs, which is crazy to me also because I thought Javon got way more carries than Rank, and I guess he did later in the game. But I thought the run game was consistent as well. And I thought when they went to it, it was working. And I think the option looks like, cause I know, Coach Killam's talked about wanting to, get to the option looks and use the option looks a lot more. Like, I think they can find a lot of success when they run those read options and even RPOs. Cause they've been running a lot of read options. They mixed in a few more RPOs in this one.
Now, the one thing is, so we talk about it being the best game for Trey and progression with him at the quarterback position. But yet you look at the box score numbers at the end of the game, and it's kind of the same old same. When it's all said and done. 17, what was he? 18 to 28, 17 to 28?
18 of 29.
18 to 29 for
252. Yeah, 252, I think.
One touchdown, one rush for 6 yards. So it's kind of average numbers at best, and another L. So where do we go, like, in terms of him, and how long is it for developing versus win?
We got to start winning. My thing is, I still think the onus is on the defense.
I would agree for this game.
Third straight game, they've given up 400 yards of total offense. Like that, that's too much. 400 yards for 3 straight games just isn't good enough. Trey, this was, I thought as well, the best game Max Simic called for playing to Trey's strengths. I thought he didn't try to force him to be anything he wasn't. Trey still, like, you'll see moments where he gets a little panicky and a little
happy
scramble,
feet, really quick.
Happy feet, very quick.
First
really
read's not there,
quick.
and he starts. You can see it, the shuffle begin.
And my thing with Trey is, like, his whole life he's been able to get by on that athleticism, right? Like when he was playing like Pop Warner ball. And then when he was playing high school ball and when he was playing, CIS ball. Now in the pro, it's obviously different. And I'm not saying he doesn't find success with it in spots. And we've seen it this season as well. Like I think it was the pass to Dunbar in week 1. He also had another one to Rank in week 1. Rankin in week 1 as well. So he can do it, but it's just like, Eddie, you know this better than anyone. Like, that is not sustainable for winning football.
No,
you know what I mean? So.
And you can't compare him to Zach, but you just look at how Zach keeps the offense on the field and drives going, even with 15-yard passes,
Yep. I wonder with Trey, like, I wonder if there ever comes a time where it's with Jordan and with Coach Killam, they're just like, we're throwing out convention, whatever you want to be successful, we're going to start putting those in the playbooks. Or I wonder if they're going to, if they're going to go kind of the conventional route and have Trey play within their playbook. Because I do think Trey, I think he can. And I think we see moments of it where he finds success doing it. And the other thing is, like, I don't think if you just say, okay, you know what, Trey, we're 0-3, you try, what do you want to do? I don't think that's going to lead to winning football, because I don't think his style necessarily always does. I think it can. I think it has moments. But it's just interesting, because I still, like, this was the play. Like I said, I've said it 3 times now. I think this was the game with the play calling that played most to Trey's strengths. But it didn't work out, and team's 0-3.
Really good defense you're going against too.
Yeah, for sure.
That does bring you some optimism for the O, because look at how Winnipeg was rushing them. Let's keep in mind, Mike O'Shea had this D-line prepared for taking proper pass rush angles, proper leverage when they're chasing the quarterback down. And Trey wasn't, as much as it's Trey not running, he wasn't able to run either. Winnipeg got him
for sure. Spied him all game, closed up. And when Trey did scramble to make some of those flash plays, it almost ended where he had nowhere to go and had to throw it out of bounds, throw it away. You know, he couldn't really escape and make those beautiful plays. And I'll say this, if you have properly coached teams, you can limit Trey. Trey is a superstar, but if you can coach up your D-line to pass rush with some discipline, and not, always want to take the inside moves and stuff, and exactly let him break contain, well, then you can really limit him with his feet. And that's where he does need to develop as a passer. And along the lines as developing as a passer, late in the game, 5 minutes left, there's a drive. It's still a game where he threw it deep twice. That first pass where he threw it deep, way outside corner, it wasn't necessary. And he had an open man running a dig route, which is like a 15-yard cut across the inside. I saw in the replay, that dig was there. That intermediate route was there, but he just kind of chucked it away deep. You got to be able to see that, read that progression, and get it to the open man.
Is that still the OC that's got to tell him, hey, listen, we're going to call this, but calm down. There's 4 minutes to go. That's a lifetime in the CFL. You have a ton of time. Let's keep playing our offense here. Find the guy 7-8 yards and move the ball, move the chains. Don't try and get it back in one play, because you can't get 10 points in one play.
Totally, brother. And the OC is in his ear. He's in the mic, literally saying that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a decision made, by the player out there. And there goes the possession.
I think he's gotten better every game, though. I think the offense has gotten better every game.
I'm with you guys totally. This was his best game. In this game, I am not hanging on Trey. This is on the D, man.
Every pass seemed to have more mustard on it, too. Like last week, it seemed like he was throwing off his back foot all the time, and the ball was out there forever, and it was more of a lob. This time, it seemed like he's putting more on a rope.
And accurate.
And accurate. Like he's throwing with a purpose.
In Maximic, their best drives, they got into a flow of hurry-up offense. Maximic, man, he was mixing it up now, calling some good plays, the run pass, keeping
defense
the defense
had no idea what was coming.
Exactly.
Yeah, Trey, like you mentioned the point, like he is quick to go to happy feet. And the way you get around that is getting the ball out quick. And that's why I thought like those 5 and ins, those hooks, those curls, getting the ball out quick and just a little bit here, a little bit there. Don't force it.
The key to success in the CFL and why Winnipeg is good is they run the ball first down, live in second and short, 4 to 6 yards, second and 4 to 6. Edmonton, they were living in second and 4 to 6 on their best drives, and they were getting it to short passes, good run plays. If you want to have success in the CFL, get to second and 4 to 6. And you'll live to see another day.
100%.
Winnipeg started to sell out on that run too, those first down runs, right? They were working for the first 2 quarters, maybe the bit of the third, but then they're like, hey, listen, they're running on first down. Everybody come meet in the middle, and we couldn't do anything with it. That's when you got to dip the ball out to the side. And I get it. You're going to sell out on the run between the tackles. Now we got to get outside a bit and get that first down, get that running play by a 6-yard pass, 7-yard pass.
Exactly, man. Open it up.
Use the passing game to open the running game sometimes.
JC was on my hot seat when we did the show last week, or when we did Elks 101. I thought he called a pretty decent game. I thought for me it was more personnel issues. Like I don't know. I talked about the we fall touchdown to Bynum. Again, if you get your head around, I think you can make a play on that ball.
He was there. Dembski's touching. He was there.
Yeah, he for sure. Chandler Garnes was there. I feel bad for Chandler, man. Like I said, he was coming in, starting for the first time this season, playing that Sam. When you just look at the play-by-play of the game, it's like Chandler Garnes roughing the passer, Chandler Garnes beating coverage. I didn't think he played that bad.
Outside of Caleros' big run, they let up 80 yards on the ground.
Yeah. And let me pull up Matthew Peter, because Matthew Peter, he only had 65 yards running the ball.
Average 6.
Yeah. Quentin Cooley obviously was getting some touches as well. He ran the ball fine, but I thought JC called a pretty good game defensively. I thought.
One thing I noticed too, Deck, their corners, they were coming down and pressing a lot.
Oh yeah. Way more
almost press. Like they were listening to us.
Way more press coverage. Yeah, because again, Bynum's we falls touchdown that was press against Bynum, and he was there step by step.
Yeah, man.
That's why it kills me as a DB. It kills me because you're doing the right thing. You were there. You were step by step. It was one by one.
Totally.
You were there.
It's not like you got burned.
No.
You know, that's why you can live with it. It's painful because it comes with a loss.
Yeah.
But you can live with it because I've seen a lot of worse DB play out there. That's for sure.
100 just in the first 2 games.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Like the coverage had been so, and the first drive I noticed they ran a lot of man defensively, and it didn't. Like obviously Winnipeg went down and scored, but I actually thought like one of the things I wrote down was like Winnipeg's really good. You got to live with it a little bit, which I know like, again, we don't want to, be taking that route because you take that route for an 18-game season, you're an 0-18 patting yourself on the back. You never want to go that route. But I did think part of it was like, okay, you're playing like a vet savvy, high IQ quarterback who's done it all, seen it all. You got really, really good receivers in that. You got a ground game that opens up the receiving game. But I thought man coverage was working for a lot of the game.
You say Winnipeg is really good. You got to live with it. And it's profound. It just hit me, fellas. You got to live with it for sure, but you got to learn from it.
Yeah.
Winnipeg is good and they make these plays, and there's a reason they've gone to 5 straight Grey Cups. If you want to become the best, you got to learn from these moments. You got to learn from the plays that you don't make in a game, and you see how the good teams make the plays.
That's what you need. You need playmakers, not
Yes.
necessarily the big pick six, but just make the play that gets to the next down.
Exactly.
Just make the next play. Whether you knock the ball down, make the tackle, whatever it is, make an individual play. Make playmakers on the defense. And I think if you had those, or if they were able to do that, I think we actually win last night.
Because you're walking out of there having played arguably the best team in the league, them or Montreal, Winnipeg or Montreal, and you competed with them, man. It was
Probably
tied
our best
23
game,
going
too.
into the fourth quarter. It was like that ball game could have been yours.
Yeah.
And you got to learn to win these games.
Those
It's not
two
easy to win.
D-backs, those 2 D-backs on those
Yeah.
touchdown passes, man. It's just putting a hand up
finite
or
plays.
something.
Keon's touchdown that he dropped hit him in the face mask.
Yeah.
Finite plays, man. Finite plays in a game.
Because you score there. I got to assume Winnipeg's not scoring before the end of the half. I don't remember how much time was on the clock, but it wasn't. It was like right at the end of the first half.
Yeah, there is.
There was hardly anything. And then you get the ball to start the second. Again, you got all the momentum in the world. You had a offense that had been clicking, I thought. So it's just one of those things. Like it goes one way and all of a sudden you lose by double digits. That a team covers when they were
covered.
when they were double digit
10 and a
favorite.
half. Like they ended up covering.
People, I don't think that's another thing. Like, I think when people look at lines, they don't realize how much 10.5 is for a professional football game. Like, that's a lot of points in a professional
Especially when
football
it's sitting
game.
like
yeah.
you sit tied going into the fourth.
Yeah. Well,
Lines be damned at that point.
speaking of the fourth, two big ones that stood out for me. Combo's roughing the passer with 11 minutes.
Got him high.
Turns it, yeah,
Same
again.
thing as the first one.
Same thing.
Same
exactly.
thing. It's one of those ones that you're like, really? But yes, by the letter of the law. But anyway, that one goes from, it would have been second down on the Bombers 37, ends up being first on the Bombers 52, extends the drive. Like now they're playing second and long, and defense at that point, like the defense to me at that point, there was enough residual from the third quarter where you're still like, okay, like they're feeling good, like they're flying. Obviously doesn't happen to then 5 minutes left in the game, they're down 10. And we talked about this earlier. Trey, the 2 long shots from his own 30, missed both, got to punt the ball, and just killers. Because that at that point, like 5 minutes left, like you go down, if you put together, it would have to be, a good drive. You would have to get some chunk plays in there. It would have to be quick, but you go down like 2-3 minute drive. All of a sudden it's a 3-point game. At that point, you're going to have timeouts.
Just points at that point
Yes.
too. Any
You can make it a 7-point game there. You don't have to get the touchdown. You
Exactly.
get a
Yeah,
field
yeah.
goal.
Points.
Just get a field goal.
And you know what? Those are the moments when Trey needs to bust out the legs. Late in the games like that, defenses get tired. Then that's when you can catch him sleeping and make those big plays with the run. That's when he needs to put it to use.
I got it. Winnipeg did a great job at taking that away with the spy. I got to give him that credit there. And I think like Trey in those moments, like down 10, 5 minutes left, I think in his mind, I could be wrong, but I think in his mind, he's thinking like, I got to start airing this ball out. Like we need points fast, as opposed to like, let's play to our strengths. Let's sustain this drive. Let's make something happen instead of forcing something to happen. And, trust our defense with 2.5, 3 left. Put the special teams out there and get it.
Defense is hard to be trusted right now, though.
It is.
Yeah.
35 a game they're letting up. Hey, Jack.
35 and 3 straight games to
Baby.
over 400 yards. Like, I totally get there not being a lot of trust in the defense for sure. I guess I'm just still thinking like maybe you point to that third quarter and you're like, okay, it can be done. Clearly it can be done. But you got guys like on that defensive line who have been completely absent. Like Smith has been absent. Barlow has been absent.
I heard Blake Dermott on Ched in the post game was ripping them yesterday on the radio.
Rightfully so.
The D line, and I tried not to kill the D line too hard. And Serezna was on my hot seat. So you had JC, I had Jake Serezna. Jake Serezna showed up.
He stepped up.
He ain't on no hot seat anymore. But JC, your hot seat candidate is that seat's getting a little hotter.
Definitely now. What do you think? Because I made the point, like I thought more of it was personnel. I didn't think he called the worst game.
No, he didn't call the worst game. But at the end of the day, it's a results-driven business. And he might not have called the worst game, but Zach Collaros went out there for 25 of 30 for 330 and 3 touchdowns, no picks. Like
25 of 30 is really tough to do.
Yeah, that's really
high.
He chewed you up.
Missed per quarter.
Oh, he chewed you up, man.
Yeah,
he chewed you up.
4 total touchdowns. Like having Zach Collaros scramble for a 13-yard touchdown against you. Did they blitz on that play?
No. Okay, that's Niles Morgan just got too horny. And even if it was a blitz, be more patient and just you got to have the awareness not to flood one side. You got to know that there is going to be a gaping hole, and there was a gaping hole.
Yeah. Zach Collaros scrambling for like a 15-yard touchdown on you. It should almost be like 10 points.
Not on my bingo card.
It's like an extra 3 for you really let that happen.
And here we are, like this is the stat that just is depressing to a degree. Another June passed.
No win.
2019.
That's crazy.
I got it right here, Eddie. Buddy, you 0-18 in June and July since 2023. No wins in June since June 21st, 2019.
Talk about starting the season behind the 8 ball.
Well, and like they're combined. I saw the stat that they're combined 0-22 starting since 2022. Obviously mine there was since 2023. I don't know when they qualify, like not starting is established anymore, but 0-22 since 2022 to start the season. Like just...
You're putting yourself behind the 8 ball that early in the season.
Yes, thank you.
Like giving up 100%. Giving up 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. Like you're just playing for come from behind.
Like starting 0-10 in a hockey season.
Yeah.
Every year.
Because like if you win this game against what a team a lot of people think is one of the best teams in the league, or maybe the best team in the league, like you go out there, you're 1-2, and it's a promising 1-2. Like you never want to be 1-2 as opposed to 2-1 or 3-0. I'm not breaking news here, but a 1-2 with a win over Winnipeg it's a lot better than a 1-2 with a win over Ottawa and a loss to Calgary and Hamilton or something like that. Like it, especially on the road Thursday night, like builds something. And now you go in 0-3, and the game against Ottawa, I mean, man, we'll talk a little bit more about that on Monday,
much more must win.
Yeah.
Right. And now like the pressure is up, and as a player, you got to play almost damn near perfect, you feel, in order to get this win. Yeah. And nobody can play relaxed in that atmosphere.
No. And when you start to tighten up and it's just you off your game.
You can't do it, man. You can't do 100%. It. You're not going to play loose.
So that's why you got to hope that Trey Ford comes into the next game feeling loose and comfortable and not playing like he did in the fourth quarter, where I think that's the exact same thing. He's putting it on himself like, shit, we're down, guys. We need to come back. I need to get it done for. Now we're 0-3 going to the next game against Ottawa. Is he going to be thinking the exact same way? And by the first snap, he's like, I need to take care of all this myself. Like, no, go back and do what you did last game, and it'll take care of itself. Just play to get to the next play.
I'm really excited to talk to Coach Killam, the next time I get a chance to, because I spoke to him it would have been Wednesday after practice, and just kind of asked about, like, I'm like, listen, man, Winnipeg's got guys who can, they can beat you everywhere. Like, they're a really talented team. And he's like, yeah, they're going to, I don't know, man, they're going to play their game. We're going to play ours. And, we're going to go out there and make it tough on them. And I'm just, like after the Ottawa game, I will probably be the next chance, unless it's practice sometime next week. But I'm just really curious to kind of get his take on, like how, because he's a really intense guy. He is a really intense guy. He's a football coach, and he knows, like he was the one who was brought in along with Ed to kind of turn things around and to kind of start off hot and start off quick, and it hasn't been that way. So I'm just really, really curious to talk to him about just obviously the little things, but on a grander scale, like what this week against Ottawa is going to mean for them.
Well, again, it's must-win season at this point now. Like, how are we here? But we're here.
Yeah.
Hate to be here, but we're here.
This is where we are.
It's must-win time at home against Ottawa, who is 0-2.
Yeah.
Like, this is must-win time.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's okay to compete and show up and have a good game against Winnipeg last night, which they did. They went into Winnipeg's barn and they showed well. You can't do that against Ottawa now. You got to win at home.
You got to win.
You in front of this fan base who is desperate, who is pleading, craving home success. You got to show up and win.
Yeah.
Another big thing, Winnipeg's crowd, man. They were into it, loud, proud, behind the squad.
Oh, that crowd is cool.
That goes, like, Eddie, you can speak to that, man. Like, having the home crowd behind you like that, like, it just fires you up. Like, it just gets you going.
Oh,
you know
man,
what I mean?
sure
Like, it's
does.
just, you hear the roar of that
The way I
crowd.
explain the crowd there, it's just thick, full. That it's no sparse seats. You're not patchy. It's thick all the way from the front row to the concourse high up. It's just sea of blue. And that's what the CFL was. That's the CFL I knew that I got drafted into in 2010 that I grew up watching, you
100%.
know? And that's what, winning does. And you gotta do it in front of your home fans. Cause I know Edmonton has a desire to get back to that. I talk to people, but you gotta give them something to cheer for.
They'll get over all the name bullshit. Win. Just go out there. If you put together 5 years like Winnipeg's done, I promise you we're opening up the second half of that stadium and we're filling in and it's looking good like it was when you were playing.
Oh yeah, you can't keep them out.
No, they want to go. I promise you they want to be there, but they want to be there at a winning team. That's what this organization has done. Go back to the 5 in a row, go back to the 80s and 90s when they were always still there. We went 22, 23 years without making the playoffs every damn year. And then it's kind of fallen off ever since.
Like people kind of, bring up to me is like the Riverhawks as an example of a good time. And they'll kind of say like, well, like people, they couldn't even tell you the results at the end of the game or where the Riverhawks are in the standings. They just want to have fun. Like the Elks should do that. And my thing is kind of like, okay, like the Riverhawks came into town to be a fun night out, to go watch some baseball and have a dog at the ballpark. Like the Elks or the Eskimos, they had the city, along with the Oilers, putting up City of Champions signs for them, right? Like they have a long, proud history. The Riverhawks didn't have that. The Riverhawks came in to be a fun time.
No expectation.
Exactly.
It was
just like, shit, man, come on, let's have some fun. Hang out with your boys.
The Oilers, there's an expectation.
Yes. And the Elks as well.
Let's go.
Like the expectation comes with the franchise.
Great.
That's why,
I'm getting chills.
I'm saying, because people say like, just have fun with it. Make it a fun night. Like, no. Like, this is a loud, proud, historic fan base. Winning needs to be there as well. And winning cures all, man. Like, no one wants any sport, any team, any league. No one wants to watch a losing team. You want to watch winning.
Oh, man.
I want to win football games.
Your favorite player in any sport could be a murderer. But if he's a champion, if he's an MVP, if he's great at the sport, he'll have fans supporting.
100%.
Ray Lewis.
Buddy, it's a real thing, man.
Ray Lewis, baby.
It's wild how that works.
Best to ever do it.
It's a real thing.
A couple other things to get to, I guess, here before we wrap up. Here's one I read from the game. Winnipeg had 6 receivers in double digits. No pass breakups in this game and no interceptions on the season either. Pretty tough. Not a great look for a DB group that this is the second episode of ElksCentral here. We've done 2 episodes of Elks 101. I think on paper, it's a talented secondary. Terrell he leads the league.
He's been invisible all season. Yeah. Which is a good thing.
Yeah. Which is good. Yeah. It's always funny to me when people try and, grade DBs. Like people talked about like Prime and they look at his box score and say like he couldn't have been that good. But like if you're a good DB, and Rick, you talked about this right off the top, Eddie, you echoed it. You blanket a side of the field. You take away, like people will look at Dion's box scores for like 3 years and be like, he had 2 interceptions in 3 years.
Yeah.
They didn't throw to him. Like that's what a good DB does.
The island.
Yeah. Revis Island. Terrell Revis was another guy who was really great. I'm not saying, Terrell Ford is prime Sanders, but I'm just saying like Terrell Ford is a guy who, can take it with the field. And like I said, like I think they're, Bynum, Cordell now, Royce Mechie, Kobe Williams, Terrell, like those are good, talented names on paper. It shouldn't be this much of an issue in the passing game.
No, I agree.
So I don't know what JC, I don't know what his him and Aaron Grimes, DB coach. I don't know what conversations they have. Like, I don't know there's not a lot to scheme up. So I don't know what it looks like.
Because again, the adjustments have been made. We thought that they were too soft in coverage. Now they're playing a lot more man. Mm-hmm. Like they're right there in the hip pocket on 2 of these bombs.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me. I'll be real, fellas. Like I won a championship and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with JC and Aaron Grimes. Yeah. So and I know what they're about. And they're not about these types of ways. So it's hard for me to see it. It's hard for me to be critical if I'm being real.
But they made plays.
Right?
If AG's there, one of those 2 passes is not coming, is not making a touchdown.
AG's going to ball.
And if JC's there, he's not making the mistake on the Morgan move, right?
It's very
like those guys.
Look at you, Rick.
We were there. The
Rick.
defense was fine.
Look at you,
it's just guys need to make plays now.
You called out 2 of the exact plays that their
guys need to make plays. That's it.
Those plays.
Yeah. The script was there. Yeah. Make a play now. That's all it is. Look at yourself in the mirror. Go make a play. Exactly. You make a play. We win yesterday.
And the thing is, like, obviously JC and Prime AG aren't walking through that door. But like, man, like Nick Anderson's a pretty good linebacker.
Sure is.
Niles Morgan's a pretty good linebacker. I just outlined the whole starting secondary. Like, again, it's not Prime AG, but we got some talent there. Like, the plays shouldn't be that hard to make. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what's next. But listen, one guy got cut already from the secondary. I don't know how much of an overhaul you can do. Because, Eddie, you know this. Like, people will be quick to say, like, oh, put the backup in for any sport. It's like, no. The reason these guys are the starters and the backups are the backups is because we've done all this in camp. We've seen all this in prior. Right. Like we know who's better, right? So it's easy for people to say like give someone else a chance. It's like no. Like we know who's supposed to be starting. We've seen that. There's a reason why this is happening.
Well, I'll say leading up to this week, Ottawa here at home. What day is it? Friday?
Sunday.
Sunday at 5, baby.
Back-to-back Sundays.
I'm way off.
Long week for the Elks.
I do believe that we will see no action, limited action, if anything, roster moves.
Yeah.
But depending on how this game goes, it could get sloppy afterwards. If they come
before
out
the game, nothing. After the game, who knows?
If they lay an egg against Ottawa at home, just don't have a good competitive performance. It's all depending on how they play. Mm-hmm. If they win, of course, all this is nothing in BS. Yep. But if they come out laying it, then I could see it starting to get sloppy around here and really panicky.
Yeah. But that's not what we've seen out of them so far.
No.
Right? They've gotten better all 3 games. They stayed there and they were there relatively in all 3 games. Right? If you play like that, you play get better. You go into Ottawa, you play Ottawa on Sunday, you should be able to beat those guys.
You should. And
for sure.
On paper, you're a better team than Ottawa.
Yeah.
Like,
all those guys you brought in have such great credentials.
I feel your roster is better than Ottawa's roster, top to bottom.
Especially like Drew. He obviously week 4 is a ways away now, like 8 days away now, or 9 days away now. But Drew might, not play this week. So if Drew's all of a sudden out for 2 weeks, like now you're playing a backup quarterback who's coming into your barn on the road. Like there's got to be no excuses for that one. Because that's the one where that's when you really start to, I think, in the back of your mind, like if you lose that Ottawa game, you're like, shit, like who can we beat?
Yeah,
what are
exactly? That's why I say it might get sloppy after that.
Yeah,
but as you're talking just now, Deck, I could see Edmonton coming out and pounding Ottawa too.
I agree,
because Edmonton came out and they matched Winnipeg for all the might and will that Winnipeg is. Edmonton matched it in spurts, so they got it in them,
and we just hurt ourselves, shot ourselves in the foot a couple times.
Yep.
Don't eliminate that. And you're going to be fine. I think that's what you have to explain to the whole team and just get that in their head going in the next game. Guys, eliminate a couple mistakes and we're going to be fine. This team's getting better every damn game. This is not the last couple of seasons. That defense is going to sit there and look at each other back there and go, hey, listen, I can do it. You can do it. I've got the credentials. You got the credentials. Let's just go out and do it.
You guys want to wrap up with an offensive player and defensive player of the game before we got to get out of here?
Yeah.
Rick, you got one?
You know what? I like Dunbar's game yesterday. I thought he stood out as a receiver. He's got to be getting a little bit old now, right? But I thought he was our number 1 receiver. I don't know who's supposed to be the number 1.
Where's Curly been, man?
Buddy, actually, I'm really glad
he was a little vexed yesterday. I'm glad you body language.
I'm so glad you brought that up, man. Curly, I wrote this one down. Actually, I tweeted it. I think it was in the fourth quarter. I don't even know what route he was supposed to be running. I think it was a post.
Didn't even turn around.
He
never
didn't know
tell.
which route it was.
But thank you, Rick. Exactly, man.
Right?
But he was in banana land. He had no idea what was going on. One catch for 6 yards, I think. And again, I
think they only tossed him 2 or 3 times. Like that was his second, I believe. I don't know if he got one more later, but it was only 2 passes to him.
And like Curly, he's not yet. Only 2 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards. He's not helping himself or Trey. Like there are some times where a receiver is constantly beating his guy and they're open and they're just not getting the ball. And receivers, they're kind of a little diva. They'll get pissed about it. But that hasn't been the case with Curly. He's just he's just invisible. And you take away that fourth quarter against the Owls, it's been 3, we'll say through 12 quarters, it's been 11 really, really mediocre quarters this season.
You said everything I'm thinking.
Yeah, man. And that one, I think it was the fourth quarter. It must have been the fourth quarter. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah, it was late in the game.
He was taking a stroll, bro.
Yeah, he didn't even turn his head around.
He thought the game was over. He was heading for the tunnel. I don't know what he was doing, man. It was action. But we should have talked about that way more. The reality he has to be way better.
Yeah, he does. And the reality is when you're making big money, because he's making, unless they restructured, he's making a couple $100K.
Yeah.
And that's,
208, highest paid receiver.
He came in to get Serezna out. So he was being traded for Serezna when he got here.
Money in, money out. That was money in, money out right there. They each made a couple $100K.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, Rick, you said Stevie Dunbar?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Dunbar.
Stevie Dunbar. And then do you have a defensive player of the game?
You know what? I think the only guy that really stood out was Serezna in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of got back to what you expect out of him, right? Like he came back here. I know he's a green and gold guy. I know he loves this organization. He loves this city. I was just waiting to see him break out. And I think we got a taste of it last game. And I really expect to see that more next game. And he's really going to drag that whole defense with him.
Eddie, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jake as well. Needed him to pop. He had a couple of big plays, big second down plays. Now, and Nick Anderson, he's always there. I know 7 to 10 tackles every game. So, and he's just so consistent. So he week in, week out.
He had great. He was in coverage as well, and I think it was the fourth as well. It was great in coverage. I tweeted, I was like, he saw what was happening back there, and he said, "I'm gonna do it."
Wasn't he in coverage for a touchdown pass too, like right inside the end zone?
He broke one up.
Yeah, he
was there. There's 3 there, guys. I think.
Yeah, he's that dude. Like he's every week he could be the player.
He's like really short to be in coverage like that, but he makes the plays.
He can move. Move. And then offensively, that's a good one. Probably gonna go with Leak. I like Leak's game that he had on offense. He went, what was it, 7 for 6?
7 for 42, 6 yards a carry.
We'll take it.
But it felt better than that.
And it was all option.
Felt more impactful.
It was, and he had more. It was way more open for him as opposed to Rank the Tank. They run differently because with Rankinen, it's more of a turnaround and hand it off to him style. Yeah. With Leak, it's total read option with Trey. And you could tell Trey was reading that defensive end, had him frozen a couple times, and it allowed Leak to skirt right up the middle for 6 yards.
No, I agree. My offensive player of the game as well is Leak. I thought, like the 7 for 42. I thought he was way more impactful than that. I thought he had a really important game. This is another one. Like people might look at the box score and look at Kaon and see he went 5 for 115 with the touchdown. Like if you take away that 70-yarder and busted coverage. It was a pretty average game plus the drop. Obviously, that's harsh. You can't just take away a 70-yard touchdown, but like that was complete busted coverage, like complete busted coverage. So
you have to get that.
Yeah. Imagine we dropped that one too.
I was just gonna say that.
So I'm gonna go with Leak as well. Although I'm gonna give Trey a shout. I thought Trey played well.
Probably his best game as a pro, man.
My defensive player of the game. I'm gonna give a shout out to Cordell. I thought because he was obviously moving positions, went from the Sam to the weak side half. I thought he tackled well early in the game. You didn't see him a whole lot. I don't know what his final stat line was. Like I don't know if he had more than 5 tackles, but I thought he was tackling well. I thought he was in the right spot. I thought he was doing the right thing. Again, you could give it to Nick every game. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of games this season where we do, but I'll say Cordell.
Yeah, Cordell's the one who fell just before that pick too, right? Just tripped over his feet because otherwise he was there. I think that was in his hands. That was going to hit him like right in the forehead.
Yeah.
That should have been a relatively easy catch.
Good call.
Especially because he's got good ball instincts too. Like, he was right there. That's a pick. That's a pick. All right. Any final thoughts, guys? Anything you want to leave the show on?
Big week coming up.
Big week coming up.
Ottawa, week 4 already. Hate to say it, but it's must win.
Yep. 100%. I mean,
I expect this defense to really smarten up against Ottawa. You don't have the greatest quarterback out there. It's a quarterback league. Get out there and just dominate the game.
I like it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what? Back Monday morning?
Monday morning.
Run this shit back.
9:30, baby.
All right. This has been ElksCentral, recapping the Bombers and Elks week 3. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of Eddie and Rick, this is Declan signing off, and we'll talk to you on Monday.